Hello everyone, welcome to another collaboration again with Three-Eyed Lion, and today we're going to just chat about why are people scared of magic? Why are people scared of witchcrafts? Well, why in this modern day are people still scared of it? Even in the tarot community, why are people scared of witchcraft? Because we're having a kind of interesting conversation before. If you want to check out Three-Eyed Lion's channel, please check out the description down below. He does lots of different free messages and lots of actual rune readings and stuff like that, so please do check out his channel and make sure to subscribe. It'll let you know when he's doing a reading and it'll let you know what he's up to and that, and I'll be doing some stuff on his channel as well. I'll pop that in the description down below as well. So I was just saying to you just about the problem that with tarot, a lot of people are very interested in tarot. They want to have tarot readings, and like people want to get them out and they want to get interested in it. Everybody always wants a reading, but the minute that you bring out either say like something like a spirit box, I have a friend who does lots of readings on his channel as well. And basically as soon as he gets his spirit box out, people just disappear like that and people get scared. Anything to do with the paranormal, loads of people get scared, or anything to do with when he does his rituals, which I really love. I'll put his link in the description down below as well. Anything to do with that, people get scared of. And I mean, there's been readings before where he's done a ritual, and literally he's done a ritual, a blessing ritual, to say to people, what do you need warning, and we'll bring it in, sort of thing. And he'll say, so-and-so wants to find a better job, or so-and-so wants to work things out with a boyfriend and stuff. And it's just a blessing to the gods, you know, and people are scared of it. People are scared about it. Even this modern day of the idea of accepting people's culture and accepting other cultures, for some reason witchcraft and paganism hasn't been accepted in the same way as a lot of other religions has. It's not been given the kind of justice that it deserves. What's your thoughts on it?
So yeah, I completely agree, and it kind of comes down to what do you define as witchcraft, right? Because a lot of people don't define tarot as witchcraft, but it is, and it does meet all the definition to be witchcraft. So tarot is just basically accessible witchcraft. It's something that is ancient archetypal images that speak to every person individually. And because you feel a personal connection to the tarot, no matter who you are, it is easy for anyone to pick up and start using, but it's very difficult for someone to get a very accurate reading with them, because they don't see the fullness of the situation. They just see the archetypal pattern of the situation. So when someone's doing tarot, it's okay because it connects to them. Somebody picks up a pendulum or a Ouija board, then it becomes something totally different. Then if somebody lights a candle and starts speaking in tongues, the whole thing becomes different now.
Well, interestingly, like you look at other cultures, for example, you look at Christianity, there is lots of times that people will, in say, for example, the Catholic religion, when you want a blessing, you will go to church, you will get a little candle, you will pray to your God and say what blessing you want, whether it's you want to become friends again with your best friend that you've had an argument with, or whether it's like you're praying that your mother will get better, or whatever it is. You'll go to church, you'll say a prayer over it, you'll light it. The priest might come over and do a prayer over it as well, but you are lighting a candle in front of an effigy of your God or an effigy of somebody holy. And we don't see that as something horrible in our culture. We don't see it as something horrible. But then if people that are doing it that are pagan or witches, we see it as something horrific, like they must be conjuring a devil or something, you know, even though it's their religion, even though it's their religion of talking to the Norse goddess Freya, or some witches are actually what they call bi-denominational, where they might be Christian but also witches, or sometimes it gets a little murky, so they'll use, you know.
I have a friend who, she calls herself a Marian witch. So she's a witch who believes Mary is real, Mary is an actual figure, and Mary had some type of mystical ability.
Yeah, so you
And
get some witches
so she
like that.
practices magic under the name of Mary. So she's like a Christian witch. So
Yeah, you do get some like that. And I mean, what happens in churches, you get a thing of incense, a ball of incense, and they put incense in this ball and they swing it up and down the church to, you know, to basically to make it holy, to you know, to basically clear out any negative energy, which is exactly the same as smudging. You know, it's just, it's witchcraft by another name, but for some reason in culture it's seen as something majorly negative or majorly like something you should hide or run away from. Why is that form of prayer looked down upon? You know, and that's what it comes down to. All witchcraft does follow one common rule: it's always accomplished by some form of prayer. You know,
yeah, and reverence and like respect for some being or entity or force higher than yourself, which is the same as religion. And you know, all religion dates and has similar practices to all magic, and almost all magic becomes religious.
yeah,
And there's a very close pattern to both. So it's, I feel like the biggest fear is the fear of self. So when people do tarot, they think they know themselves, so it's less fear shows up. But when we do other types, like the runes, for example, there's a lot of like other and separation and confusion and misunderstanding that they think they have, because they forget that they are the runes, they forget that they are the pendulum, they are the spirit box. They think it's something separate from them because it's an aspect of themselves they don't know very well. Kind of like, what if a part of you was a long lost cousin and showed up at Thanksgiving one year with the food that no one likes and brought the one dish that no one wants to eat to Thanksgiving dinner? Would you welcome them, or would you tell them to leave? Would you take that part of yourself back, or would you repel it? Most people don't want to see themselves, so they get afraid and they leave these broadcasts. Like you say, when the energy changes to something that is so real to them, they don't like it. They leave. Where some people will show up because they like feeling uncomfortable.
yeah, like the idea it gets too real for them, so they don't know how to react. You mean like, so like they'll
Yeah,
suddenly realize of, oh crap, like somebody's just said the name of a person that I know. How the hell could they know that? And it freaks them out. I mean, I've seen it
and
happen
that can be
before.
done with tarot too. Like that has happened with tarot as well. And tarot is magic, and it's proof that magic is real is a tarot deck. And I'm not discounting any of that. But the reason why I don't do tarot on my YouTube channel anymore is because I find that tarot is a crutch. Tarot is very preventative from deeper expansion, meaning it's like marshmallow, and it gives you positive feelings but no actual nutrition. There's very little nutrition in tarot. But if somebody like Violetann brings out a bag of charms, this little game piece, this little piece of jewelry, it's so more powerful because it's something that is less universal, less templated, and more personal, more individual of a reading. And it may be harder for her to explain it, and it may be more difficult for me to understand it than a tarot reading. But at the end of the day, it's more nutritious. It means more to me than just a marshmallow.
I mean, I think if witchcraft was more respected as a religious practice, we wouldn't have to deal with half of the negativity we do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like if somebody does another kind of ritual for their religion, like if they pray every day or something like that, it's accepted that, oh, you might not follow that religion, but you know, you accept it because it's their religion. But if somebody wants to you know, make some moon waters to like do a salt spell to remove negativity in the house or something, it's not respected as part of their religion. And it's having that kind of respect of that, you know, witchcraft isn't just about whether or not the results instantly happen or whatever. It's about the spiritual aspect of it. It's about learning about the world, learning about how it flows, learning about, you know, spirits. It's a religious practice at the end of the day. And unfortunately, a lot of people like sometimes will come to you and say that they want to learn witchcraft or they want to learn about magic, they want to learn about it. But realistically, when you give them a list of books of you should read this author because they're amazing and they know lots of things about witchcraft and it will really kind of expand your knowledge on it, they don't care. They want to know, how do I perform a spell to get a bigger butt, or how do I get a spell to, you know, to make somebody fall in love with me, or how do I do a spell to do this? And they're missing the whole religious side of it, and it's not going to work unless you spend the time learning about the religious side of it and actually honing your skills so you can actually put your energy in and you can actually connect with the gods or the goddesses and whoever it is you're praying to actually help them for that assistance. You know, unless you learn about it, it's not going to move things forward.
Yes, and that moving forward, a teacher of mine, and this is another reason why the change I made on my channel since I was last on your channel, is that this Arthur, with this organization, the Builders of the Addendum, he wrote that tarot, Paul Foster Case wrote that tarot was intended to be a self-development tool, to look at yourself, and was never intended to be used as fortune telling, which can be based on the origins of tarot being a game. So tarot gives information for you about your journey inwards, introspectively, as a tool for you to hold a mirror up to yourself. It works really well that way. But if you want to start giving information for someone else, a pendulum will be more accurate 90% of the time than a tarot deck, because the tarot is subjective. There's a lot of strange interpretations you have to go through that will ultimately end up being not as accurate as other forms of divination for other people. But for yourself, tarot, nothing can beat it. And many people don't want to see that because it's so easy to use, it's so easy to learn, even though it's difficult to learn. It's something that people don't want to take the accountability, the fact that maybe I would be a better reader if I learned another method besides the tarot and I just use the tarot for myself. And that's what I'm learning. The more I learn other than tarot, the better my tarot is, but I only use it for me in my private life and in my private sessions with clients.
I mean, like, one of the things I find interesting though is like when you're saying about like people using it for self-development, a lot of the time people sometimes ask you like, have I got a spirit guide? What's my spirit guide like, or something like that? And then you direct them towards like doing a guided meditation, because that's how you're going to know what your spirit guide is like. Everyone has a spirit guide, personally, I believe, but you're only going to actually learn to interact with them and learn to talk to them and learn what they're like by you going inwards. And it's that I want an instant answer without doing the work for it isn't going to actually move you forward at all. But spending the time and saying to people, look, you can get these guided meditations and stuff for free on YouTube. You can go and watch them right now. You know, you can go and do specific guided meditations that take you into a trance, help you to try and meet your spirit guide and everything like that, and to have a conversation with them. But instead people want this like instant results without any of the efforts. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to actually have a conversation with them directly? I don't understand that. I mean,
so the main root cause I think you're hitting at the head of is the idea that everyone is looking for the answer externally, where it's most likely always been internally the whole time. And so tarot is so good at deceiving that. So a bad tarot reader, in air quotes, no one's really bad, but a tarot reader that would be labeled bad is someone who would give a reading that is addictive for the sake of being just positive messages.
Yeah, like a bad reader would be somebody that's trying to make somebody coming back to them day after day after day after day without actually trying to get them to find the answers themselves. Yeah. And although like I was going to say, look, it's hard when you're in the moment to sometimes see the answers, you know, because you get clouded. But sorry.
Yeah, no, and when we're what I find is it's so difficult to find the answers inside. So they're always there. And a good reader, in quotes, and I think every reader is good, is someone who is able to give a message that someone has already known in a way they've never heard it before. Something that someone has always known to be true, but in a way that no person has ever said it. When you can do that, you start helping people more than just making money, more than just being a fortune teller. You become a mystic, you become a psychic, you become someone who actually impacts the world for the better instead of monetizes and takes from the world.
Yeah, it's like you actually giving them a wake-up call kind of thing.
Yeah, and you do it in a loving way, because the thing is, I start with tarot, and then I almost always tell people, if you want more of the hard-hitting stuff, let's go deeper than tarot, because tarot always has a limit, has a basement level where it can't go deeper than that level. But with runes, or with water divination, with fire divination, I have no limit. I can go as deep into the pit of the vortex and deep into the abyss as possible to get as accurate as I can. With tarot, there's always a basement. There's always that bottom watershed level where I can't go deeper.
I actually took your advice yesterday after I was on your live stream on the earlier on in the day. I think it was early on in the day when I came on and you were suggesting about doing some more money magic, basically. Because I'd had some really bad worries about money and that. And it's like trying to remember your roots and just actually having that time to connect back to spirit was actually really good for me. I mean, I didn't just do the money one as well. I did my salt jar because I had left that rotting, basically. Left it dried out, and then I started having terrible luck. And yeah, I do notice that whenever I have neglected it for quite a while, that's when I start getting terrible luck. So I need to remember to clear it out and redo it whenever bad things happen, because like a friend of mine suggested it, and ever since, whenever I have it active, things seem to get smoother, basically easier. But I redid that, and then I did the a money spell, basically. I mixed up some money herbs and imbued them, enchanted them, and did a candle spell with some of them. And I'll probably use some rest of it in like some baths or some other candle magic later on. But I wanted to make up a good load of mix so I could use it in some different places and that. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good to actually get back into the swing of things again. So I've got a little bit of it here, but this isn't the one that I used. I burnt another one all the way through during the night, but the other one was actually green. That one was a yellow one because that was the only one I had to hand. That was a proper jar one. But I had a green one last night that I burnt fully with all the intentions put into it properly. And that was just like a daytime one that I had burning earlier on. But it was really good to actually be able to connect again. And one of the really relaxing things I find with it is when I've done a bit of witchcraft is actually reconnecting. Just allow me to reconnect, and sometimes I miss out on that when I just don't do it for a while.
And well, to kind of keep going from candle magic is like tarot is so accepted, but in the tarot is so many other forms of magic. There's multiple lit candles in the tarot. The hermit is holding a lantern. He's doing fire divination. The high priestess is looking into water. She's doing water scrying. The star card, she's looking into water. She's doing water scrying. There's so much divination in the tarot, but people don't want to see it. They just want to see the cards. And so I recently got this book by Raymond Buckland, The Advanced Candle Magic. And I borrowed it from the library, and I wanted it for myself in my own library. It's powerful teachings of change, and it's many different rituals and spells and correspondence of candle rituals and voodoo and different works of candle magic.
That's cool.
So, and I find with YouTube, if I make a tarot video, boom, 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 boom. It goes big. People talk it. I get all kinds of, if I make a candle magic video, book magic video, or any type of other type of magic, I have the same 5 loyal people who watch whatever I post. And I know that those 5 people got me every time.
Like,
And
it's a fear of like magic. It's a fear of things getting too real and the energy actually coming out and starting to become real.
Somehow that fear is not in tarot, which it should be, because tarot is one of the realest types of magic.
Yeah, but people aren't afraid of it because it's so reminiscent to a deck of cards. Because like literally some people use decks of cards to divine with because it's so reminiscent.
And the deck of cards come from tarot.
Yeah, because it's so reminiscent of a deck of cards because it originated from one. It's like less scary to people. So like I said, like my friend, he does tarot and he'll do tarot readings and then he'll suddenly get an urge and go, oh, let's do some candle magic or let's do a ritual. I'm really feeling like doing a ritual. And he'll be in there with like 10 people in the room and then the numbers will just drop because people are scared of it. Like same thing when he gets the spirit box out, people will freak out and leave. And it's like, but it's nothing negative. I mean, like literally it's just positive. It's nothing like, oh, I'm gonna curse anybody or anything like that. It's just literally asking to bestow blessings on people. It's literally just a prayer. You know, it's a form of prayer of saying, you know, that please bless the people that are in the room. Yeah, it's nothing negative.
Yeah, and the ones who think are negative, I'm glad they leave. You know, when I do something like that, if I light a candle, if I do something like that, sometimes I've done readings where I light dragon's blood covered white sage in the center, and I give smoke readings. And people get really freaked out how accurate I can tell you, okay, your aunt's dog just died on Thursday because of this smoke. Well, because I'm a shaman, I've studied smoke readings. I've learned how to do it. And
if you were if it was anything, it was called anything other than witchcraft, people would not be afraid of it. If you were some part of some random tribe from another country, they'd be all like, oh yeah, it's just cool cultural thing. But because it's from pagan and Norse mythology, it's scary. It's, you know, and it's all this kind of like crap to do with it. It's something dangerous, you know, and it's not.
Well, it could be. See, I admit that like all tools, every hammer can be used to either build a house or to break down a window and knock someone's knees out and kill their house.
Yeah,
and I say
and obviously
there is a dangerous aspect to everything, but through study and respect, and like we said, reverence, when you respect what you're doing, it's not scary. And if you feel like the person who you're watching does not respect what they're doing, I recommend clicking away. I recommend not engaging in that. If you feel this person's disrespecting the tarot, the runes, or a candle, if you feel this person's disrespectful to your beliefs, don't engage. But if you don't have any clue, give it a chance, because there's so much we can learn from different practices. And when we're dogmatic, saying, well, that goes against my beliefs, you miss out on the magic that other people are openly willing to share with you.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, if well, I mean, like, yeah, people can be negative. So, like, if somebody got some horrible intentions behind them of going, oh, I really hate this person, I hope they've got a terrible day, that kind of stuff, then obviously it can be used for negative, and it can put bad vibes out and stuff, and bad intentions out there, and bad energy out there. But I mean, more along the lines of people have this terrible fear that they're going to pray on a candle and then something horrible is going to happen, when realistically they've got pure intentions. You know, if you're going into it with pure intentions, then there's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, if you're going with it with, oh, I hate this person, I hope they're like have a terrible day or something, you're going to draw that in. It's like, you know, that negative side will draw more negative sides in. And I think a lot of people sometimes get afraid of going, oh, I think I've got a curse on me, or I think somebody's cursed me and stuff like that. And most of the time, yeah, sometimes maybe, like sometimes you will get some people who will try and put curses on people and try and do bad things to people and stuff. But I really believe that they're few and far between, like, because you really got to annoy somebody really badly for somebody to put that kind of intention into it, you know. You've really got to upset somebody.
No,
Yeah.
there's major and minor curses, right? So you're talking about major curses. There's a lot of minor curses like envy or greed or lust or anxiety that can be passed on. So I use stuff like the evil eye charms. I do different types of talisman magic to be aware that people may accidentally harm you unintentionally.
Oh yeah, like if they just hate you and they just constantly thinking, oh, I hope something terrible. I can
Or
understand that, but I
or
mean,
just like lust, say they want something from you or they want something you have.
yeah,
And
I mean
it's
that's the ebb and flow of energy, really. I mean that does just happen, the natural course of things. But I mean more along the lines of they think that somebody's actively gone out and put a curse on them, like
and that does happen. But if it, there's uncrossing, there's a lot of, if you
yeah.
study if you study practices, there's ways to remove anything.
Oh
But
yeah,
if you
you can put a lot of protection on.
yeah. But the last thing on this topic I really want to say is, if you're in a situation like we talk about and someone who's doing tarot or something more accepted goes into something more different and that you see other people leave, make it a point, if you even feel uncomfortable, give it a chance. And you might, on the other side, be glad you did.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of things people can do for their own protection and that. I don't think there's as many people going out there putting curses on people as they think, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think as a witch, like, somebody's really got to upset you to actually bother to spend your energy doing that. Why would you bother spending hours doing a ritual to try and curse somebody when you could spend hours doing a ritual trying to, like, improve your money or improve your life? You know, why? You know, why would you bother? You've got to really annoy somebody for them to go to that extent, you know. Really got to upset them, you know.
And even if it gets to that extent, it's so easy to remove it.
Yeah.
It's one of the first things that any magical practitioner learns is protection and removal and binding. So
yeah. I mean, the witch's jar is the oldest method. Like,
or dream catcher.
Yeah, or dream catchers as well. But like in England, they've found witches' jars in really old houses where they've been uncovering walls and all sorts, you know. And if you're really scared that much about it, make some witches' jars or do a crystal circle or have a dream catcher or have something else there that's a permanent, you know, permanent blockage, you know.
Yeah, and it's okay to be afraid. If someone's doing something and you don't know and it gives you a little fear, that's okay. But if the fear becomes dread, then you should probably leave. But if the fear becomes like exhilaration or intrigue, then keep going. Because some fear makes you better and some fear is telling you that you might die if you keep going. So learn to spot the difference, and they might look the same. So like me personally, I don't like pendulums, and they stimulate a little bit of fear to me. But I have a few pendulum friends who I watch their videos on YouTube and other platforms because, one, they're my friends, and two, by challenging myself with something that makes me feel uncomfortable as a viewer, I become a better reader, because oftentimes as a reader, the messages we have to tell people are not very pleasant. So we need to learn how to say them in a kind way. And the only way is through challenging experience, I find.
To be honest with me, it's not pendulums, actually. I like pendulums. It's Ouija board for some reason. I won't ever like have a Ouija board in my house, I don't think. And I that's more to do with the way I was brought up. Like, I was brought up in a family that loves and my mum, if she's watching this, would probably kill me if I actually had a Ouija board in my house, because she absolutely hates them. She's really, she loves spiritual stuff. She is basically could run rings around me with mediumship if she was like going on here anyway. Because she can just get things out of people without even any cards or anything like that. She just knows instantly. And she had, yeah, she's majorly intuitive. she just knows stuff. She just absolutely knows stuff. She has a deck of tarot cards herself as well. Maybe someday we'll have like 3 generations of witches on my channel, of my mom and my nephew and me all doing it at the same time. But what was I going to say? She had a really bad experience when she was younger with a Ouija board, and it scared her off Ouija boards for life. And to the extent of, she's always brought us up saying, do not mess with one, do not mess with one. Everybody that I've ever known that's really, I mean, like, I've known a couple of people that haven't had bad experiences, but a lot of people I know that had bad experiences with them. But I don't think necessarily there's anything wrong with the device itself. It's mostly
it's a tool.
I think the intention. Yeah, I think it's the intention behind it. Like, most of the time when people get out Ouija boards, their intention is, oh, this is freaky, let's get scared by a ghost kind of thing. And it's not a, can I get some messages from spirit? It's a, oh, this is scary, because like people are on a sleepover and they want to get freaked out and scared. So what do? They get a bunch of ghosts that want to freak out and scare them. Yeah,
and literally, it's a ghost board that is sold on Amazon and every possible retailer. It is so prevalent. It must not actually work the way you think it does, or it wouldn't be sold at Walmart.
Well,
and so
people with it and stuff as well, with the table tipping.
I've done Ouija boards in cemeteries and in a cemetery, and I got more messages from the pendulum than I got from the Ouija board. And that's why the pendulum scares me more, because demonic and angelic entities can interact with a pendulum a lot clearer than a Ouija board, in my experience. And the Ouija board is just terrifying because it's meant for that purpose, where the pendulum is positive because most people wear necklaces. The pendulums are very pop witch, well, very.
Well, they're often made out of stones that are sacred as well. So
glass, or and it goes back to ancient Egyptian time. Is one of the oldest forms of divination, the pendulum. You just tie a rock to a string and there you go, and you can get really accurate readings from spirit.
Yeah,
and that's something that scares me but doesn't scare a lot of people. So
yeah, I mean, saying that though,
that's the key. Say that again.
I was just going to say, saying that though, I know it's just a tool, and I know that most of the negative stuff comes from probably people's intention behind it. But for some reason, like, because of, I might be my own bias, that I probably wouldn't ever do Ouija board. But saying that though, I have done, when you've done a ritual almost like a Ouija, it's almost like using a planchette where you have an upturned glass. I've done those before. And that was amazing. Like, but I never did it inside. It was when I was on a ghost walk once. I was on this ghost walk, and we were actually going outside with a bunch of mediums and stuff through this kind of like supposedly haunted forest and stuff. And we got to this one bit and stuff, and they were like, okay, let's do this table thing. So they had a fold out table, the glass, put the glass on us, and it was going around and everything. And it got to a point when they were like just taking everybody's hands off because it was going really, really fast around the table. And I ended up with the last finger on it, and I could barely keep my finger on it. Like, this glass was like moving, and like my hand was like this way sort of thing. The glass was going out in front of me, and like my hand was still sticking behind, because trying to keep up with how quickly it was moving, my hand couldn't, with just a single finger on. And half the time my finger wasn't even on it anymore. And that was kind of like, wow, it had just got that much energy behind it from all the people that were there. It was just flying off the table, basically.
Like we're saying, that's when it gets real. And a lot of people leave, right? And a lot of people can't handle it when it gets real.
Yeah, a lot of people be freaking out at that point. And like one of the girls that were there was like, because they were talking about it, basically the spirits that are coming through were mostly just there to scare people, wanting just to scare people. And I think that's the problem is sometimes when you go on some things like the ghost walks, or you have people over and they're doing a sleepover and they're doing Ouija boards and stuff, they're drawing into that kind of energy of going, I want to be scared, so scare me, kind of thing. And like, you know, some ghosts are like want to have a laugh and go, oh, it's funny scaring people, you know, because, you know, people do it to people all the time. They prank people by going, like, jumping out and scaring them, you know.
And not only that, it's scaring someone makes you feel alive even if you're dead. So the
yeah,
ghosts feel alive when they scare us.
yeah, like playing tricks, playing pranks, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like if you've ever scared someone, you felt a little more alive by scaring them.
Yeah.
It's just for a brief second. And same for spirit. But Violetann, on this topic, I feel like by talking about it here on your platform of your beautiful audience, we can kind of start planting seeds that in the future we can have more of a acceptance. I feel like there's a prejudice of divination. This divination has privileges, but this one segregated from the other ones. And I feel like the only way to deal with it, just like any form of prejudice, is discussion, dialogue. And we're talking about it now. So I say thank you for having me here on your channel to have this good conversation.
I was just going to say one last thing. The lady asked me why was I not scared when it was like moving really fast and like this thing was saying that it was like really horrible and stuff, saying, oh, why you don't seem scared at all, like why are you not scared? And I said, well, because I've got my family. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, if that entity is in spirit, I know I've got members of my family in spirit as well. They are going to take care of me in spirit. And I think that's one thing to remember, that just because there might be like negative people out there in spirit, there's also a lot of positive people out there protecting you as well. So if you ever do get scared, just ask upon them, you know, ask for your guides, or ask for a family member that's passed over to come and help you, to, you know, just talk to them in your mind and say, you know, can you offer us some protection? Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. And is there anything else you want to add before we end it, or?
No, I don't think I can top that. Just know, like, I'll just reinforce what you just said is, you know, just call out to your ancestors. We all have countless number of dead loved ones who we never got to meet, who still love us, even though they died 1,000 years ago. They still love you, and they're still making certain that things go right for you. So call out to them.
All right. Thank you all for watching. And again, if you want to see more on his channel, check out the description down below, and I'll pop in the link as well to the one that we're going to do on his channel as well. All right. Thank you. Bye.